The touchdowns are definitely going to come down. Like, obviously, we saw 863 from the quarterback position through the air this year. That was an all-time record, almost a 5% touchdown rate for the league. That is just ridiculous. And JJ, you pointed out how unstable touchdown rates are. So that's definitely just one category that we can point to for regression. But we can't pretend like this, some of this isn't, that's why we're calling it kind of the bottleneck of the quarterback position, because it is just really bleeding over to such an efficient market, like you mentioned last year. It's really incredible how it's all kind of come together, and we definitely seem to be paving a new frontier at the position. What do you think, Trav?
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. Like, just kind of looking at some quarterback stuff. If you look at the top 12, there's only 4 guys who didn't run for at least 200 yards. And I think for myself, like, I used to be the type who drafted with that passing stability, and like a couple of years ago when Lamar was coming out, I really didn't think he was somebody that I was going to want on my teams, but I've definitely shifted that mentality, which is something that as fantasy players, we've got to make sure we're prepared to do when needed. So it's something that excites me a little bit more, because it's another, just another strategy to work your team around, right? If you draft one of those guys, it brings more strategy into those later rounds, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's fun times for sure.
Yeah, and just really quick, like, we saw the most completed passes by quarterbacks. Like, it wasn't just the rushing production. You can listen to the most recent episode of the Late Round Podcast, and you can get some of those ridiculously just unbelievable numbers. But the passing was also something that's going to get swept under the rug a little bit. We've seen, the highest completion percentage of all quarterbacks combined, 3 years straight consecutively completed passes. And that's really interesting to me, because it is the efficiency that's going up. It's not necessarily the rushing, or sorry, the attempts or the passing yards for that matter. We saw more in 2015 and 2016 than we saw in 2020. But yeah, that efficiency, as teams kind of get away from that old boys club and embrace some of the Kellen Moores and the Joe Bradys and the Eric Bieniemys. Who's the other guy who doesn't have a job? Because I'm trying to be sort of ironic here. But
can't remember.
There's a handful of. Yeah, thank you, Brian Dable, who should be in Los Angeles. Yeah, so I think a lot of coaches are coming around to the fact that, we need to be putting the ball in our quarterback's hands more often than not. And hopefully we see this become a little bit more sustainable, but definitely those touchdowns and stuff will come down a little bit. Yeah.
The crazy thing. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. The crazy thing, the one stat that really jumped out with the rushing stuff that you were alluding to. I tweeted this one day, but if you look at the last 9 years of rushing touchdowns at the quarterback position, so I'll just read 2016. I'll just read from 2016 on, but 2016, there were 65 rushing touchdowns from quarterbacks, 2017, 66, 2018, 71, 2019, 80, and then this past year, 126. It just completely blew up. It was crazy. So I had to at least throw that one out there, because it was when I was just going back and looking at stuff, it was one of those insane things that I saw.